So my last video to you, the video that I made about stepping off of the hamster wheel of life, uh, was met with a lot of questions and comments. It seemed to have struck a nerve with a lot of people, and the comments people had were like, "Okay, Tony, I get this conceptually. I understand that. Yes, we don't want to live on this what I call the left road, the road where we're always pushing and muscling and struggling and making things happen and worrying and stressed and anxiety. And like, yes, I get that we want to step off of that path. But how? How do we step off of that path? And what is this love led life that you speak of? What is this life where we can step into this life that is filled with peace and joy and happiness and connection? Um, like what? How do we do that? And like what practices do we need? And the question that came up over and over again is, how the hell do we pay our bills in this life of love? So I want to answer. This is a big subject. So one of my favorite quotes. So I don't butcher it. I'm going to read it by the brilliant Joseph Campbell. He says, "We must let go of the life we have planned, so as to accept the one that is waiting for us." And this is such a brilliant quote. It took me about 15 years. In fact, this was when I was 33 years old. This quote was. It really struck me. Kind of like it was like almost like the slap across the face. There was something really resonant with this quote, and it was so resonant that I remember finding this beautiful piece of driftwood, and I actually painted this quote onto this driftwood, and it was placed in my backyard. But I understood it intellectually, but I didn't have a knowing of what it meant, and it took me about 15 years for this quote to actually like click in. I get it now. And so this is what I'm speaking of when I speak of like this hamster wheel, stepping off the hamster wheel into this love led life. I'm speaking of stepping into a life that's waiting for us. And then so the question I'm getting, well, how do you pay the bills uh, on in this life that is waiting for us? And that is that very question. The unknown is what keeps us on this road of struggle, that keeps us on this left road of pushing and muscling and making things happen. We're scared. And the thought of stepping into the unknown uh, is incredibly scary. So we don't do it. And questions like how do we pay our bills stops us from actually stepping into it. And And one of the most courageous things we can do is to actually step into the unknown, is to step onto this right road, this love led life. It is unknown. We don't know what we're stepping into, but the greatest decision you can make in your life is to step into this unknown, because where the unknown is, the unknown essentially is possibility. It's limitless. The unknown, in the unknown lives everything. There's limitless possibilities. The known, the path that we all stay on, the path of fear and the path of struggle, is known. And it's actually a very limited life. This life that we have planned, that we think is best for us, is a very limited life. It's I like this analogy. It's like if you have a great big tarp, a huge tarp, and that tarp represents the unknown, represents infinite possibility. We choose a little pinhole in that tarp, and we decide to create a life that is that pinhole, which is very limited, and it's based on what we know, and it's based on our past, and it's based on what's familiar. So we live a life of a pinhole, which is a very tiny, small life, but that's the life most of us are living. And walking into the unknown, walking into the life that is waiting for us, is essentially not walking towards that pinhole anymore, the familiar, the known. It's walking towards this massive tarp, this massive realm of infinite possibility where so many things are possible in that world. We just don't know what's possible, and we need to find out. And so everything I'm talking about right now is not something I've learned from a book or from a podcast. I'm actually speaking from lived experience. So I just want that to be said. And this is my experience, and I'm just communicating with you what I've gone through. Okay. So this is a very big subject, and it's probably going to require many videos to explain this journey of the left road, the road of struggle, and the road of fear and anxiety and stress and this very small, limited life that most people are on. Okay. And so that's one stage. And there's lots of information. So how to live that life, that fear-led life, you don't have to look very far. Are Most of the books in the world are written about how to live this left road life, this life of struggle. And most of the books are about hacks and like how to be more productive and how to work less hours or work more hours and how to deal with anxiety and stress and depression. So because that's the world most of us live in. But I'm not going to speak of that world anymore. I'm speaking of this right road, the road that is waiting for us, this road of love, this life of love. And that's another step in this process. So the first step is the left road, and then the last step is the right road. And there's not a lot of information, a lot of books written about the right road. There are a lot of great mystics and teachers who I've learned from who speak of this right road. But the thing is, and we can all like, some of my teachers have been Joseph Campbell or Ram Dass or Joe Dispenza or Michael Singer, these great or Paramahamsa Yogananda, and these great mystics and these great teachers. And they're speaking from the mountaintop of this right road, the love-led life. But the problem is, if you're already on the left road, if you're walking the left road, you can't live a love-led life when you're still on the left road. You can intellectually understand what they're talking about, but if you try to live this life on the right road, this love-led life from the left road, it's not going to work. You literally need to get the hell off of that road. And then there's a middle section, and this is the section that most people don't talk about, and this is the section that I went through, which is this middle road, which is the road of which is the cocooning, right? So you got the left road. We're trying to make it to the right road, but then there's an in-between land. There's a middle ground, and I call it the cocoon. And this is essentially the cocoon, which lasted about a year for me. This cocooning stage is the stage where you learn how to become the person who walks the right road. Okay. And just like a caterpillar needs to go into the cocoon to become a butterfly, we too need to go into the cocoon to become the person who is meant to walk this right road, who is meant to walk the life that is waiting for them. So this cocooning phase essentially is where we die, who we think we are dies, the caterpillar dies, and the butterfly is born. And we too need to let our caterpillar, who we think we are, dies, so that the butterfly, who we're becoming, can then grow its wings and then fly. So this cocooning phase is very, very important. It's needed. And this cocooning phase is where we forget that we are a caterpillar and remember that we are a butterfly. We're not really forgetting that we're a caterpillar. We're realizing we don't need to be a caterpillar anymore, and then and we're remembering that we've been a butterfly the whole time. We've just been wearing this kind of caterpillar costume that we can, in this cocooning phase, we can realize, oh, I'm wearing this costume. I don't need to wear this anymore. And we take it off, and then a butterfly forms. So this cocooning phase is very important. And I'll be creating videos about this cocooning phase. And each phase really ends with a death and a rebirth. So the left road, this road of struggle and fear, needs to die. And with every death, there's also a birth. So death is a continuum. It's not an end. It's also a beginning. So there is a death of the left road, and I went through this death, but in that death is also the rebirth. In that death is also the tools that you need to be reborn into the cocooning phase. And I'll make a separate video about that death. And then the cocooning also has a death. There's a death to the cocoon. There's the death to the caterpillar and the birth of the butterfly. And so there's a death and rebirth in the cocoon phase as well, which was pretty a wild experience for me, which that will be a whole other video. And then there's the birth of the butterfly of the right road. So this question of how do we pay the bills? How do we pay the bills on the right road? Well, how do we pay the bills? So in this cocooning phase, we learn that there is no getting, right? So on the left road, this road of struggle, we pay our bills by getting money. So, right, we hustle, we move, we work, we earn, we sacrifice, we push, we make opportunities happen so that we can get the money, extract the money we need in order to pay our bills. But what we learn in the cocooning phase is that the right road, there is no getting. There is no getting. There is only, we don't get money. Money comes through us. So it's not something we're trying to extract. It's something that comes through us. In other words, and I don't mean it's like we just wait and like money grows on trees. What I mean is that the money or the provisions that we need, the way we get money on this right road is that we wait for provisions, we wait for doors to open for us, we wait for provisions to, or the how to get money, the how, we wait for that to open up for us. The instructions, the work that we need to do in order to earn the money or achieve the money or get the money to pay our bills, it comes through waiting for the opportunities to come up. And then once the door opens for us, we walk through that door. So the how to get the money is a door that opens for us without our struggling and making it happen, that we walk through and we walk through that door with ease. There's an ease to it where then the money is to pay the bills. Where on the left road, we're trying to create doors. We're manufacturing doors. We're struggling to get through doors. We're sending resumes. We are working 2-3 different jobs. We have side hustles. We're always looking for opportunities. We're networking. We're pushing. We're grinding. We're working many hours. So there's not an ease to it, and we're actually trying to create the doors. And what we do on the right road is there's no creating doors. There's waiting for doors to open. The doors come through us, not from us. They come through us. The doors open, and then there's an ease to walk through that door where the money exists to pay the bills. So let me give you an example. So on this right road, and this is what we learned, we started learning in this cocooning phase. On the right road, we want money. We need, how do we earn money to pay our bills? So on the right road, what we do is this. So let me see how I can say this. So when we decide to step onto the right road, this road of love, this love-led life, that love-led life is our purpose as human beings. We are here to live a life that we love. We are here to experience heaven, the symbol of heaven here in our lifetime. So our soul's purpose is this love-led life. That's what we're here to figure out. How do we live a life filled with love, connection, peace, no struggle, happiness, and joy? It's possible. It's the life that is on your vision board. It's the life that you think of when you're writing your goals list. We all have this idea that it's possible, which is why we struggle so much to achieve it. But that left road, the struggling is not required to achieve it. When you struggle, you're actually pushing yourself farther and farther away from that potential. So we all see the potential of this life, okay? When we decide to stop struggling for it and we walk off the left road and we take our first step on the right road, that step onto the right road is our soul recognizing, now I get to live the life that is meant for me. The life of struggle is not meant for our soul. Our soul is meant for this life of love. And when we decide to leave that left road, the life of struggle, and we take our first steps onto the road of love, our soul says, yes, this is our path. So there is a merging. There's a unification of our soul and its purpose. It's almost like spiritual lovemaking that happens. It's cosmic or spiritual or soulful penetration. Our soul penetrates its purpose. Our soul has found its home on this right road. So there's a merging. Our soul doesn't merge with struggle. That's why we are often so depressed and anxious and stressed out on the left road. There isn't a merging or a unity. There isn't a soulful lovemaking, but that happens on the right road. And whenever there's a penetration or whenever there's a soulful lovemaking, there is a, lack of a better word, there's a seed planted. There's a spiritual semen that is extracted, not extracted, that is put forth. Okay. And that semen, that seed is our provision, is the how, is the way of how we pay our bills. Okay. And so we actually conceive the how we're going to pay our bills. We conceive that at the time of the spiritual lovemaking, the time we step onto the right road. It's already, we're already pregnant with the how. We become pregnant by that seed with the how. And oftentimes, just like in a regular pregnancy, you don't know what your kid is going to look like. Are they going to have brown hair, black hair, brown eyes, blue eye? What kind? You don't know those things. Just like we don't know how we're going to pay our bills, but it's already in motion. We're already pregnant with the idea. We're already pregnant with the provision. It's in us already, but it's in the invisible. And we have to go through a pregnancy process, just like in nature, just like in real life. There's another way to put it is that we are pregnant with provision. We are pregnant with the way we're going to pay our bills. We don't know how yet, because that is inside of us, and it's waiting to go through the gestation process. It's waiting for it's waiting to go through the natural rhythm of a pregnancy for it to then be birthed out into reality, into our life. And so the key difference is that we are being pregnant, which means we are waiting, we are enjoying our life, we are taking care of ourselves. Instead of being panicked, like we are on the left road, instead of being nervous, instead of being anxious and going into hustle and manufacturing and making things happen, we are just allowing ourselves to be pregnant with provision, knowing that the answer, the how to how we pay our bills, is being birthed through us into reality. And if we make the mistake, and this is what we always do on the left road, we don't wait for our provisions to be birthed. We try to force labor by sending out resumes and calling and cold calling and networking, grinding and working 14 hours a day and pushing and muscling and not making time for people we love. We push. And what we actually wind up doing is we actually wind up like forcing a miscarriage, because the how is already being born. It's in the belly. It's coming out into life. And what we're doing is we're working against life. We think we're in charge of that process, and we wind up doing all this work, and we wind up doing too much work and forcing a miscarriage, and we wind up creating an opportunity that's not aligned with us, when the opportunity that is aligned with us is actually wanting to come through us. So So we need to just allow ourselves to be pregnant and wait for this idea, the provision, the how, to go through the invisible realm, to go through to go through this the birthing process, and then at the right time, we as people will go into labor. Like that happens in nature. We go into labor. That means the baby, the provision, is about to come into reality. And when we go into labor, as the word kind of expresses, that is when we begin the work. That is when we go into action. When we go into labor. When do we go into labor? It's not up to us to decide when we go into labor. It's the intelligence of the pregnancy. It's the intelligence of nature. It's the intelligence of the universe. It's the intelligence that's bigger than us that determines how long the pregnancy is going to be and when we go into labor. So we don't force labor. We wait for us to know when we wait for us to know. We wait to know when life tells us it's labor time. And it will be a very clear, this is labor time. We will know, just like you do in pregnancy. You will know. And the difference is the instructions come with labor. It's a co-creation, just like in a regular pregnancy. The woman, there's exercises, there's breath work, there's a pushing that is needed at the appropriate times, right? So the woman co-creates the baby, works with the intelligence to move the baby out into the world. And just like that, when it's labor time for us, when our provision, the how we're going to make money, is ready to be labored out into the world, there's an ease to it. Most of the work is being done by intelligence. And there are certain things, certain tasks, and certain steps and certain actions we need to take that are going to be ease. There's going to be an ease to it. We're going to know exactly what to do. We're not going to force it. We're not going to work 14 hours a day. We're just going to do what we're being told. Most of the heavy lifting is done by nature. We're helping it. That's a big difference right there. And then we go through the labor process. There are certain actions and steps, phone calls, emails, whatever it might be, people we need to call. Who knows what it is? Who knows what the how is? But we walk through that door, and then the provision will then appear into our life in reality. We'll know exactly what to do, and the result will be the money that is needed to pay the bill. That's how walking the right road works. It's a birthing process. It's an allowing process. It's a stepping onto the right road. It's a cosmic, a spiritual lovemaking. There's a seed planted that has everything that we need. We're provided for on the right road. We just can't get in the way. We just can't go to left road practices of muscling and feeling not safe, and I have to do everything and I need to control everything. That is not the way on the right road. The right road is an allowing, it's a waiting, it's a spiritual lovemaking. There's a seed planted, there's a gestation process, there's a waiting, there's a birthing process, then there's a labor process. We come into the labor process, and then we help nature, the intelligence of the birthing process. We help it bring the idea, what we need to do into the world, the provision into the world, and then there's an ease to the paying of that bill, as opposed to, oh my God, it's the 11th hour. I can't believe I paid that bill, or where's the money going to come from? It doesn't work like that on the right road.